Good morning or afternoon, everybody. We want to thank you for joining us for this virtual 4-H meeting. My name is Jonathan Johns. I am your county 4-H agent. We will be hopefully eventually getting to see you in person, but right now we are doing this virtually. So we are making sure we want to provide you all the opportunities to stay involved while you are studying virtually. So, with that being said, we're going to be going over a few things today. We're going to be talking about some different opportunities that we have coming up. We're also going to be speaking about our 4-H public speaking contest that'll be coming up soon, and um, going over some tips and tricks to get over being nervous, feeling like we're better prepared for our public speaking contest. So with that being said, let's talk about our 4-H newsletter. So as you can see here, as I'm sharing my screen, this is our 4-H newsletter. Now, don't worry about the October up here. We're just starting a little bit early due to some scheduling problems we were going to run into this year. So first off the bat, you'll see right here, we've got our public speaking contest information. Again, every November, we have our public speaking contest for everybody in the 4th grade all the way through 8th grade. So we listen to a lot of speeches that month, but we've heard a lot of great speeches throughout the year, and we're expecting this year to be no different. So again, if you are a 4th or 5th grader this year, your speech needs to be somewhere in the range of 2 to 5 minutes. We typically try to say, the sweet spot for a good speech is about for a 4th grader or for a 4th grader is about 2.5 to 3 minutes. For a 5th grader, we're looking at that 3.5 minutes, somewhere in there. You don't want to go too long where you kind of start rambling when you're talking, but you don't want to cut yourself off and not give yourself enough time to adequately explain everything that you're talking about. When you're giving your speech, make sure you're hitting the 3 main points. The introduction, the body, and the conclusion. Please make sure you have good eye contact. You have a good tone to your voice. You don't want to speak too softly or too loudly. Show emotion when you give your speech. And the big one is do not read your speech. We're not asking you to read a report. We're wanting you to give a speech. And a speech is a presentation, an oral presentation. That's where you get up there and you give something you've memorized, you've practiced. You've got hand gestures. You're not just looking down the entire time. You're looking up. You're kind of surveying from side to side the audience. You're kind of trying to engage those audience members. So as we look back here, still talking about the speech contest. When we break a speech down, we basically break it. It breaks down to those 3 points: the introduction, the main points, and the conclusion. And those points can kind of be put together like a hamburger. The introduction is going to be the top bun of your hamburger, or the top of your speech, the beginning of your speech. And this is where you state the purpose of your speech and you grab the audience's attention. You want to do something that's going to make that audience really want to pay attention to you as you're giving that speech. You really want to find a good hook for the topic that you're talking about. Moving on to your main points. This is the meat of your speech. This is where people are going to get the most information from. Typically, you want to have at least 3 main ideas in your speech, and these should kind of play off of what you talked about in your introduction. But you want to support those main ideas with some supporting details. You really want to elaborate on each of those main points. You don't want to just get up there and give us some cold hard facts. You want some personality. You want anecdotes, quotes. You want some life. You want to really make it interesting, make it engaging to the audience members. And then the last thing, we come to our conclusion. And the conclusion is kind of where you tie everything back together. You kind of refer back to your introduction. You refer back to the main ideas in your speech. Find a way to be creative about your ending. Don't just get up there and say that this is how my speech ends. Find a ending of a song that kind of ties your speech together, or find a quote from somebody famous, or give us a little anecdote at the end. Maybe talk about a personal experience that kind of ties back into the main idea of your speech. Be creative with it. Don't just say, and that's today. This is how I'm ending my speech. That's that's not very creative. That's kind of boring. We want creativity when we're giving our speeches. Now, when it comes to as a fourth or fifth grader, you guys can write about anything you want. You can present your speech about anything you would like. Um, we do have some different 4-H topics down here that you can choose from. And there's some really good ones down here. Um, some of the good ones you could do. What does 4-H offer youth? Kids can make a difference. What is leadership? What citizenship means to me? We are in an election year this year. A world leader, the American farmer. Farmers are always important if you think about where we would be without farmers. Why communication is important. Um, you know, a major problem facing teenagers. Now, there's a lot of things going on in the world today. So here are some good topics for you to choose from. Okay, now as we scroll back up here to the top again, we do have some information here for your parents to read through if they're, when you show them this newsletter when you get home. Please make sure you we want to highlight this phone number. This is our office phone number. So if your parents have any questions, just ask them to feel free and give us a call. We are going to be offering a couple of day camps, one-day day camps during fall break. Our first one is the beginning archery for fourth and fifth graders. Now, this is for anybody that has never, ever seen a bow and arrow, never handled one, doesn't even know which way you put the arrow on the bow. Okay. We're wanting completely green individuals. If you have experience shooting a bow and arrow, this is probably not going to be the class for you, because we will do a different archery class later on in the year. But this one is for people that have never shot before, because we're going to be using our Genesis compound bows. This is a very low poundage bow, just to kind of go through and find out what a dominant eye everybody is. Give everybody a chance to shoot at some targets from probably 5 and 10 meters. Maybe do some little fun activities, but just to give everybody the confidence to actually learn how to shoot. We also are going to be offering a baking group called Clover Baking 101. And this is a beginning baking class for fourth and fifth graders also. This class is going to be held on October 13th. It's going to be an all-day class. It'll be from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And both of these classes will be limited to 10 individuals. We will be getting sign-up information out as soon as we can. If you are interested in signing up, again, all you have to do is call that phone number up at the top, and we can get you signed up. There will be small fees associated with each class. For archery, it's going to be $10 an individual. The baking, we're still working out the details on the cost for that one, but you will have all your materials provided at both these classes. The really neat thing about the Clover Baking 101, you're going to learn how to make some really neat foods that you'll get to take home, and you can then make them for your parents as well. We also have already started talking about junior 4-H camp for next year. Next year, we're going to be going to camp June 7th through the 11th. The price for camp next year is going to be $320, but we do have an early bird registration. And if you sign up during the early bird registration, it's only going to be $300. The early bird registration runs out on December 18th. But going to 4-H camp, this is a great Christmas present to ask for, because you're gonna have a lot of fun. Remember, when you go to camp, you get to go canoeing and kayaking, you get to go fishing every day. There's a zip line, there's swimming, there's all kinds of sports, there's arts and crafts, there's nature hikes, there's campfires, there's a ghost story, you get to make s'mores. So there's a lot of fun to be had at camp. Now, we camp at the Clyde M. York 4-H Center in Crossville, Tennessee. It's a great camp. Great location, and we do have a YouTube video up. You can go to Camp 4-H UTIA, put that in the search bar, and that will bring you up to a video that will go over the different 4-H camps we have here in Tennessee. And lastly, just want to encourage everybody to follow 4-H on Facebook at UT Extension / Franklin County. On this Facebook page, we do periodically post program announcements. We're going to start posting some recipes that you can try at home. We're going to have some online contests that are going to be open to all ages. And, we also post, a lot more. We're going to be posting, different classes we're going to be offering, just a general program, like I said, general program announcements. So it's a good place to get your information. So encourage your parents to follow us on Facebook so they can kind of stay in the know. Okay. So with that being said, let's talk about some public speaking. Let me get here. To my screen. Excuse me, I moved some stuff around. So let's look at this for just a second. This is what did you say? How to effectively present a speech. And basically, this just kind of goes over how to introduce a speech. And this is gonna be linked in the information that your teachers are going to send out to you. So feel free, you can read through this. But basically, when it comes to a speech, some terms and concepts to listen to, you have the delivery. And this is how your speech is presented. And this includes your tone of your voice, the speed that you talk, and the volume that you talk. And the tone, this is just the quality of a person's voice. Your tone can be either soft or high pitched. You could be real deep. You got to think about what's going to be the most pleasing tone for your audience members to listen to. We also have volume. And, typically we don't want to yell at our audience, but we don't want to speak so softly that they have trouble hearing also. We want a good, loud speaking voice that's not yelling. And then you don't want to get up here and start speaking a mile a minute. You want to make sure you articulate, you pronounce everything so everybody can understand what you're saying. You don't want your words running into each other because you're speaking so fast because you're so nervous and you want to get done. So with that being said, we're going to watch a couple of videos. The first video is going to be of a very nervous, bad public speaker. So with that being said, let's go ahead and watch. We're going to watch about 30 seconds of this so you can see what a nervous public speaker looks like.
Hello, everyone. Well, the Ball State softball team continued to play this weekend, and they were hoping to continue off of their straight 3 out of 4 losses. And so we'll take a look and see how that happened. They started off good, but then eventually the Ball State women's team shut down and ended up doing poorly. Oh, no. And okay, we're going to continue on now. The Ladies Cardinals will play an Iowa tournament starting this Friday. Before the Ball State baseball team.
Now, as you can see from this individual, you can tell he's right off the bat, he's very nervous because he's very fidgety as he's talking. He also stumbles over his words a lot and kind of gets lost and kind of repeats himself. And then the big red flag that kind of comes out about how nervous he is right after he says something in his report, he says, "Oh no." That just kind of tells everybody that he's super nervous. He's really worried about what he's talking about. So we really, to give credit to this individual, he didn't stop there. He did persevere and continue through his news report. So that in and of itself is a victory for this individual. But these are, using him as a teaching example. These are just some examples of tendencies we want to try and practice and work on before we give our speech in our classrooms. So now let's look at an individual who's a little higher quality public speaker than this individual. Let's
How long have you been a beekeeper? What is killing the bees? These are the 2 questions that I get asked almost every single day. Well, I think I was born a beekeeper, and we're killing the bees. Those are the short answers. Now I'm going to give you the long answers. For the answer to the first question, let's rewind back a few years.
So this individual is a lot more confident right out the bat. You can tell the way she's looking at the audience, the way she's engaging. So, much more confident, much better prepared than our first individual. And you can also kind of see the way she's laying her groundwork for her speech. Right out of the bat, she asks the audience questions that she then circles back to as she starts to dive into the meat of her speech. This is a really good way to start a speech. If you open by asking the audience a question and then circling back to that, you begin the main body of your speech. So these are good examples of a good public speaker and a less prepared public speaker. Now we got one more real quick video here we want to show you. And this one is about just how to be a more confident public speaker. This is a really good video. It's about 4 minutes long. We'll just watch the whole thing, okay?
Okay, just get up on that podium. All right, I'm here. That was easy. Now I just need to, oh my gosh. How many people are in the audience? 100? 1,000? Don't count. Okay, I can do this. And focus on my notes. What did I have written down again? Hello. Okay, if this sounds like your worst nightmare, you're not alone. Actually, you're one of the estimated 70% of the population that has an intense fear of public speaking. And that's okay, because on today's wellcast, we've got our triple P method that will get you through and get you calm during that next oral report and keep your breakfast where it belongs. You ready? Many polls list public speaking as the most commonly reported phobia among Americans. It's called glossophobia, meaning literally fear of the tongue. A study by Texas Christian University tested 48 women and 48 men enrolled in a public speaking class and found that those who exhibited high trait anxiety had the most physical symptoms of distress when speaking publicly. So what if you're the kind of person whom any bit of social acrobatics is tantamount to entering a lion's den? Hey, calm down. Okay, I'm just kidding, but seriously, calm down, all right? We've got our triple P method. It'll get you through that next public speaking gig. Pause and print this wellcast worksheet. Step 1, prepare, prepare, prepare. We said it 3 times because it's that important.
There are 2 things that go into being prepared. Number 1, knowing your subject backwards and forwards. 2, knowing exactly how you're going to present it step by step. In your wellcast worksheet, write down the major points that you want to get across to the audience. Get the ideas out of your head and onto the paper.
In the next column to the right, start ordering these points in a logical manner. Arguing your point to the audience and winning them over is like a boxing match. First, start with some fancy footwork, a fact or an anecdote that will hook the audience in and get them to pay attention to you. Then, throw a couple of swings. Supporting evidence for your argument, stats, personal stories, something that will start to convince the audience that you're taking control. And finally, the knockout, a landing blow of statements that's memorable, convincing, and sums up your speech's position. All right, step 2, posture and physicality are key. Part of keeping your anxiety at bay while giving your speech is knowing what to do with your body.
Before your speech, avoid large meals or dairy products, which will make you feel like you need to clear your throat incessantly. Bring a bottle of water on stage if you're allowed. Don't be afraid to take sips throughout your speech. It'll keep your voice natural, and it gives you a moment to pause and regain your composure if needed. Stand naturally, not too stiff or slumped. Good posture will help you breathe and speak easier, and it'll let your audience know that you're calm and in control.
Step 3, pander to your audience. The best public speakers know how to work the room. Don't be completely serious unless the occasion calls for it. Don't read entirely out the cards. Keep a natural cadence and pace. Throw a joke or a side in. It'll draw in a laugh. If there's a silence, then turn that into a joke. Stay natural, self-effacing, and the audience will be on your side. Let's recap. You'd rather face a poisonous reptile than public speak, huh? Well, follow the wellcast triple P checklist. Prepare extensively for your speech. Know your content backwards and forwards and figure out the absolute best way to present it and to win over your audience. Watch your posture and physicality. This includes everything from standing naturally to breathing from your diaphragm.
And hand it to your audience. Keep them in the palm of your hand and with an easy demeanor, natural cadence, and of course, jokes.
Tweet us at WatchWellTech.
So there's some really good points that were brought up in that video. You know, make sure you prepare. Don't show up the day of your speech and having never practiced and expect to do really well. You need to practice at home. You need to prepare at home. A prepared mind is going to be a confident mind. The physicality, again, that goes back to those nonverbal cues, you know, body language. If you're confident, if you're standing naturally, you know, we're going to tell you're at ease, you're ready to have a good time. And again, have fun with it. You know, speak about a topic that you enjoy. Don't get up there and try to explain to us about, you know, some historical figure that you know nothing about. You know, talk about something that you know and care about. Again, like I said, whether that's your favorite book that you've ever read or, you know, a meal that you cooked at home, you know, talk about something you enjoy doing, and public speaking is going to be a breeze. So again, you know, we want to thank you for joining us today for this virtual 4-H Club meeting. If you have any questions, please reach out to us at 967-2741. We'll be glad to answer any questions. But otherwise, I think we'll call this a day, and you know, have a good rest of the week or rest of the month, depending on when you watch this.